Hey everyone, it's Lofty here with a short video on the controversial Total Film interview with Simu Liu. Simu Liu is the lead in Marvel's upcoming film Shang Chi. He's a Canadian actor, stuntman. He's not really known for any popular on-screen performances, but this is going to be pretty huge for his career. Personally, I have no interest in this movie. None of the trailers did anything for me. You know, I think Disney is kind of on autopilot at the moment. I haven't enjoyed any of the Disney Plus shows personally. I kind of checked out after Endgame. Not intentionally. I was hoping that Loki was going to be fun. I really wanted to enjoy Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But without getting super opinionated here, I mean, this video is not a review of my opinions on Marvel movies, but Shang-Chi just looks too goofy for me. I think the CGI looks terrible. I think the humor is cringe.
But a guy with a freaking machete for an arm just chopped our butts in half.
But here's the thing. I'm a huge martial arts movie fan, and that's what this is. This is a martial arts movie. This is a martial arts fantasy movie. And I grew up with martial arts films, and I was obsessed with them. I would go out of my way to find these obscure bootleg copies of Chinese and South Korean and Japanese martial arts films that never got a Western release. And a lot of these had that mythical fantasy element to them. And I think that's a really cool genre. Films like The Restless and Dragon Tiger Gate. If you're a fan of martial arts movies, I highly recommend trying to look for these because they're just really fun and they're better than anything Hollywood is currently doing. The track record in this genre in Hollywood is terrible. And I don't think Shang-Chi is going to break any ground here. Now, when I read this interview with Simu Liu, it shocked me. It sounds like the most corporate, scripted, politically correct response that you could possibly give. I reacted by crying hysterically into my pillow. He tells Total Film, the responsibility bore down on his shoulders as he hit the gym to get his torso superhero ready. It's certainly quite a bit of pressure, I have to say. I loved superhero movies growing up. I loved Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, but I was always keenly aware that people who looked like me could not look like that. Okay, what is he saying here exactly? If you want to talk about the superhero genre in a vacuum, then okay. There are not a lot of Asian superheroes in the Marvel or DC universe. And Simu Liu is 32 years old. He's a year older than I am. And we grew up watching X-Men, Batman, Spider-Man cartoons. There was the live-action Bryan Singer X-Men trilogy, the Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire, and then there was Batman and Superman movies. And what these Hollywood studios were doing at the time was taking the most well-known characters from these comic books and giving them a chance on the big screen. That's how this whole superhero genre started. And the fact that there wasn't a lot of Asian superheroes to begin with, it made sense that you wouldn't jump to Shang-Chi in the late 90s to experiment with this superhero genre that hasn't been proven yet. So, okay, let's continue this interview. It's a beautiful and exciting new origin story for this character that a lot of the world hasn't heard before. And it means that kids growing up today will have what I didn't, which are characters that are aspirational that also reflect their lived experience. And there it is. There's the politically correct, inauthentic, and frankly embarrassing scripted response. Lived experience. The most arbitrarily defined verbiage uttered by the most boring, robotic people. I'm sorry, Simu Liu, but kids are not going to grow up today aspiring to be Shang-Chi more so than they did aspiring to be any number of the following people: Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Donnie Yen, Robin Shao, Zhang Ziyi, Lucy Liu, Michelle Yeoh. I could go on and on here, but it's just insane to insist that you, because you're in a Marvel movie, because you have a large audience, you reach a lot of people, you have a massive budget, you think you're doing something unique here? You're just gonna pretend that you didn't grow up aspiring to be some of the people that I just mentioned? You weren't excited to see people that look like you on the big screen, making lots of money, being heroic, kicking ass? You are insisting that what you're doing here is groundbreaking. By starring as an Asian man in a Marvel movie in the year 2021. I really don't want to believe that he thinks this. I want to believe that I think maybe this was some kind of corporate response that he was supposed to give in order to push narratives and maybe like write some articles about it. I mean, it's just so mind-blowing to me that this conversation doesn't immediately derail itself. When you start talking about doing something for the first time, you better be pretty positive about it. Otherwise, you look like an idiot. I mean, he did get a lot of backlash here, at least on Twitter, from what I've seen. People were not happy about it.
Now, if any of you sons of got anything else to say, now's the time!
People were calling him out and doing what I just did, which is listing a bunch of Asian mega superstars. And just the fact that these martial arts action stars were so popular. Everyone wanted to be like Jackie Chan. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic. Jackie Chan was your hero. If you grew up in the 90s or the 80s, you were doing cartwheels off your bed in the middle of the night. You were kicking pillows, roundhousing imaginary bad guys. And here comes Simu Liu in 2021 thinking that he's shattering glass ceilings. Do you want to talk about glass shattering? Go back 35 years when this happened.